Remember when everybody loved the Marvel Netflix shows? Remember when Daredevil first came out and it was a huge hit, a huge success? Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was saying, hey, you have to watch this. If you love Marvel, this is next level Marvel. This is down and dirty. This is gritty. This is realistic. This is blood. This is people dying. This is cursing. This is what people who were sick of the jokes and the kid friendly humor in the Avengers movies, which I'm perfectly fine with. But other people might have been getting sick of it. Other people might have wanted something more adult, and that's fine. This is for them, and this is for everyone that wanted something from their superheroes, wanted a little more realism, wanted something that was based in reality, and that's what it was. And then it was announced that all of these shows, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, it was building towards an event, a big epic event called The Defenders, which is from the comic books. It's not the Avengers, these are the street level team. I couldn't wait to see these characters interact with each other. I couldn't wait to see what it would be like to see them possibly fight or fight side by side or crack jokes with each other or continue off very important plot points that was left off from their own show. And something went wrong. Let's try to see if we can figure out how the Defenders went wrong. The beginning sure was a miss, in my opinion. You had Dany Rand, who is the Iron Fist. Him and his girlfriend Colleen Wing, they're seen hunting down the Hand. The Hand are a group of ninjas who were established in Daredevil and a lot more in Iron Fist as these ninjas, group of ninjas who want to just cause chaos and cause destruction, specifically in New York. So Dany ends up going there. And this was a mistake because Dany Rand, Finn Jones, who plays the character, is so unlikable, so boring, so uninteresting, isn't that great as the character, horribly miscast, and we just came off just a few months prior to the worst Marvel Netflix show that they provided. So we were down off of that. We were upset about that. And we were jumping into this show wanting something different, wanting something better. And the first scene is just a reminder about how bad their last show was. I know it's following up The Hand. I know it's following up Iron Fist's story from his show. But who cares about Iron Fist's story from his show? We get a moment where Dany meets Luke Cage. And that's amusing because Luke Cage immediately does not like Dany, immediately is confrontational with him, makes fun of him, kicks his ass in the first fight that they have. And that was almost too amusing. I don't know if it was intended this way, but it definitely came off as Luke Cage was representing us, the audience, who did not like Dany, who was completely sick of having to watch him for as many episodes as we did, and just wanted to downgrade him and minimalize him as much as we can. And so that's what this character was. And in the comic books, the two would eventually go on to team up for Heroes for Hire. So it was amusing to see them be confrontational as they met and then slowly build a friendship over time, which they do end up doing throughout the series. But Luke Cage, we should talk about Luke Cage because I really enjoyed this actor. I liked where he came from his show. And I even loved his relationship with Jessica Jones. And the fact that they broke up in season 1 of Jessica Jones really upset me. And I was hoping that we could steer things back on track here. You knew that they would talk. You knew that they would interact. You knew that they would have to have some sort of solidarity or at least closure. And I feel like we never got any of that. All we got is a bunch of scenes of them being awkward with each other and showing that they still have feelings, but never following through with that. Because for whatever reason, they wanted to keep them apart. Maybe they planned on eventually having them get back together. Maybe they should have been. They should have been aware of the fans who wanted them back together, who thought that they should have stayed together. They're together in the comic books. They have a child together. So this was something that we wanted, and we were disappointed. We didn't get it. The show insisted on having Luke Cage date Claire, which was rather unfortunate. Matt Murdock, at this point, has given up being Daredevil because of the death of Elektra. So he's mourning over that. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, because it does for me. It certainly sounds like The Dark Knight Rises when Batman retired because of Rachel dying. And so this didn't feel natural for Matt Murdock. This didn't feel like something that he would do. He was dedicating his life to being Daredevil, dedicating everything, his profession, his friends and family, his relationships, his health. Everything was being sacrificed because he cared that much about the city and saving people in the city, that I don't buy that this guy would have given up the costume, given up that life just because somebody from his past who, okay, sure, fine, he had love for her, but was he still in love with her at that point all these years later after she screwed him over and whatnot? I don't know. I don't buy that he would give up being a hero after this. I do enjoy his meeting with Jessica Jones. She gets arrested, so he shows up as her lawyer to help get her out. That's just perfectly done, natural. I almost wonder why this wasn't done even sooner. But the side characters, there's so many characters who are on all of these shows, and I guess we felt like we had to show them and represent them in some way. Sure, it was amusing to see Trish and Karen Page, for example, interact, but they didn't feel like they needed to be here. They didn't feel like they played a major role and a big part like they do in their own shows. So you honestly probably could have just left them out. Our main villain is Alexandra, played by Sigourney Weaver. And I remember when she was first announced in the cast, announced as the villain, we all thought, holy crap, what is she going to do? What's this character going to be like? Because Sigourney Weaver certainly has a presence and certainly is somebody that you want to see when she's on screen. You find out that she is one of the heads of the Hand. So I guess that makes sense. They've been building up the Hand a lot at this point. So all right, fine. We finally meet somebody at the head of the table. And then you find out that she's immortal. What? We have a character who's immortal, who has been alive for, I think, hundreds of years. That's just off-putting. I know that Iron Fist has introduced supernatural elements into this world, but this was so quick, so sudden. I wasn't ready to jump into a character that's immortal. I love the realistic tone from Daredevil. I love the realistic tone from Jessica Jones. Even though she has superpowers, it's still a very human story. Same thing with Luke Cage. Here's a guy who is a black superhero living in a world where Black Lives Matter was a huge thing and still is a huge thing going on. So a lot more relatability to their stories, a lot more things that I feel like I could have connected to, where this is just big over the top immortality. Hey guys, we're going to resurrect people. Since this main story focuses so much on Iron Fist and his backstory, and that was the weakest show of this, why would we have this so deeply connected to Iron Fist, him and his chi, and just, you were so sick of it by this point that to have more of this stuff. And then you find out that they resurrect Elektra, who died in Daredevil Season 2, and so this proves to be a major thing because the Hand wants to use her as a weapon, as the big bad, the big villain. And this is proven even more when Elektra kills Sigourney Weaver. And you think to yourself, why? Why did we do this? I just sat through 6 or 7 episodes of this character, building up this character, telling us her backstory, telling us how important she is and has been with the Hand and the history of these events that have been going on, just to kill her unceremoniously. I know there's something about surprise. I know there's something about, hey, anything can happen, anyone can die, and that's fine. But when you feel like you've wasted your time watching a character go through stuff and then just to get killed off with no real build up, no real setup, no real payoff, it's frustrating. This series only had 8 episodes, not like the usual 13 that every other character has had. So we didn't have the time. We didn't have the luxury of sitting around and killing these minutes, killing these times of something where Sigourney Weaver is here and then killed off. And so now Elektra is the main villain. And so you find out that the way how they have their resurrection powers, the hand, how they're able to bring people back from the dead, is dragon bones are underground in New York and they're able to draw power from it. This dragon is connected once again to Iron Fist. What? There's a dragon in the same world as Daredevil? There's a dragon underground in New York with all of these characters and nobody ever knew about it? Wow, that is a little far-fetched. That's a little too far off the deep end, and I never bought it. I never was fully sold about it. And it doesn't help that we never got to see any history of the dragon. We never got to see a dragon go around and do anything, even if it was flashbacks, even if it was scenes to be like, hey, this is what existed in this world. No, all we do is we see the dragon bones underground, and that's it. That's really it. At least Game of Thrones is willing to show you dragons and willing to put the whole shebang, give us a big budget. I'm surprised that this show, because it was a build-up, because it was a culmination, that it didn't have the budget to be able to do a dragon-like effect here. Maybe that would have sold me. Maybe if they did go full all out and have a dragon come alive or show us what this dragon could do, maybe I would have been able to buy it more. But as it stands, it just came out of nowhere. Elektra kills Stick. Stick was a major character in the Daredevil series, Season 1 and Season 2. He played a big part in not only Daredevil's backstory and his training and playing a father figure, but he also was that for Elektra. So his death should have felt like a big deal and should have felt like something that I cared about, but for whatever reason, I didn't. I'm surprised, honestly, that 8 episodes, that this didn't fly by more, that this didn't feel like a ride, that this didn't feel like something that would go by quick. There wasn't a lot of action going on. They spent a lot of time just talking and interacting, and I like that the other shows take the time, take the effort to build these characters, to build relationships, to build drama going on. I very much enjoy that. But if we've already done that with these characters, if we've already built them from the ground up, this show is supposed to be where we get to have fun, where we don't need any more backstory, we don't need any more setup, we don't need any more dialogue-driven scenes. We just wanted to see more fighting. We just wanted to see more superhero team up. I wanted to see more scenes like that hallway fight, which is, of course, a Netflix Marvel show has a hallway fight. And the very end, I guess we can talk about the very end, where Daredevil is able to convince Elektra that what she's doing is wrong, that they are in love, they do embrace, she does come back around. The whole underground layer, though, is about to explode, and Daredevil and Elektra, they're willing to kill themselves to stay down here and make sure that the dragon bones and that everything blows up. And this is supposed to be sad, this is supposed to be impactful, this is supposed to be meaningful, because Daredevil, quite possibly the best hero, the best character out of all of these shows, is about to die. But the whole time I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for him to survive, or I'm waiting for an explanation of how he's going to survive. I never truly bought the idea that he was going to die and perish in this explosion, and so that takes the weight out of it. And also, it's another reminder of The Dark Knight Rises, where Batman looks like he's going to sacrifice himself with the nuclear bomb, but then survive. So you're following Daredevil, and at this point, at this rate, he does come across as a second-rate Batman, and that pains me to say, because I think the character had so much more interesting things to do in his own show. So he wakes up in a room with a nun, and you see that he didn't die. They didn't even really bother to explain how he survived an explosion like that. Think about it. He's the only character without superpowers, so he's the least likely to survive that. Jessica Jones could survive it. Luke Cage could survive it. Hell, even Iron Fist could glow up his fist and make a force field to protect himself. Hell, for all I know, he could fly. And it wouldn't impress me because he's so boring. But at least this sets up Daredevil season 3 very well, and that season ended up kicking ass, so I can give it that. But overall, I can't believe how disappointing, how upsetting this series was. Look, I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever. I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm not saying it's a rant worthy show, but it's lackluster. It's unimpressive. I didn't want a Avengers style epic. I didn't want something that was huge and big. I just wanted something more fun. I just wanted something more entertaining. I just wanted something a little more fast paced. This was only 8 episodes, and it felt just as long as the other shows with their 13. I think that this could have been the one where we did focus less on story, did focus less on the characters, and just had more fun with them, had more team ups, had more scenes and moments that we're not going to be able to get in any other show. And it's a waste. It's wasted potential. It's a wasted opportunity. And you almost wonder if after this show came out, after the critical reaction, after people and fans were as upset as they were, was this the beginning of the end? Was this the reason why every series show that came out after this, Luke Cage season 2, Jessica Jones season 2, Iron Fist season 2, Daredevil season 3, all of them not only seem lesser than their previous installments, with the exception of Daredevil, but every other season just seemed to pale in comparison to what came before, and people seemed to start to get upset with every single season. But not just that, they were all canceled after this, unceremoniously. Just not given another chance, not given room to grow. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of The Defenders? Do you agree that it was disappointing? Do you agree that this is what went wrong? Am I missing stuff that was upsetting? Am I missing things that they dropped the ball on? Or did you like The Defenders? And tell me why. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.